am introducing you in this video.
There we go. You got to say, what's up, you guys? It's Graham here.
What's up, you guys? It's Graham here. Welcome to the greatest real estate investor podcast and YouTube in the entire world. Do you have a podcast yet?
No, I don't.
You should. Future right there. I thought you were already taking the audio from here and using it in different places.
I should be. Many people tell me that.
That's why I'm here. And welcome to my show. And this is Ryan Serhant. How are you?
I guess if you guys don't have a TV, obviously this is Ryan Serhant. You have the #1 team in New York, correct?
Yeah.
You've been doing this 10 years. How many sales have you done? So you've passed $1 billion, obviously. What?
We do about $1 billion a year.
That's insane.
Yeah, but I also have a lot of people that work with me. My team is large. It's like 62 people.
Okay.
So all those people combined, you'd think we would do a lot more. But we're a volume. We're a volume.
Yeah, that's not too shabby. But really quick, in the very beginning, I think we should plug the YouTube channel. You're just a few days away.
Yes.
From getting that silver play button for 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah, right now, wherever we are. Yeah, we're a couple away, trying to get to 100,000.
So make sure to go subscribe to Ryan.
Yes.
But why did you decide to start the channel in the first place? That's unique, because not many people are doing that. Besides Will Smith, I think Will Smith really got on the bandwagon of that. Why did you decide to do that?
And I think Will Smith is going to set kind of the domino effect, and you're going to see a lot of other people getting into it. Yeah. Because you just have freedom of content, and you realize that the audience is so massive, right? Like a TV show these days, if it gets 1 million people to watch it, like that's a good episode of TV, right? And if it's network, it's got to be more, obviously, but cable TV is huge, and 1 million people is a large audience. For YouTube, like if you can build up your own audience for subscribers, they get that alert every time you put out a new episode.
That's true.
It's a built-in audience base that can watch you whenever they want, however they want. You can't really do that with TV. I mean, you can, but it's a cumbersome process to make sure you download this app and that app, and you've paid this bill and that bill. So for me, I'm always thinking about the future. Like I'm equally excited, but also terrified about the future all the time for myself. So like in the book, and I wrote a book, and right now we're about an hour away from my...
like Serhant,
by the way. The book is out. Go to Amazon.com and buy it. I think the second to last page, or maybe the third to last page, there is a photo of me at 80 years old. And that's who I work for every day, right? And so the YouTube... Like, it's only a matter of time before every single person and every baby has a YouTube channel. So I'd rather start doing it now, planning for myself in 10, 20, and 30 years for brand and content awareness, than jump on it later once everyone's already doing it.
That's so true. I really believe YouTube is the future, by the way. I really
in some way, shape, or form.
That's going to be the new TV. All the kids these days, they don't have TV.
Yes.
They have Netflix, and they have a phone, and they watch YouTube videos. So that's really what it comes down to. So I see the potential in that.
And I also wanted to, like, it's fun for me to tell stories. That's what's fun about TV in the first place. And with the vlog and what we do every week, it's just different, right? It's kind of like stuff in my office. It's the behind the scenes stuff. It's the stuff in my car. It's the things that would never make it to TV. Not because they're boring, but because it just doesn't fit the right mold, which is totally fine. And the internet and YouTube is the right place to do that. And we've seen a good response. So
we're going to be telling a bit of a story here. Well, you're going to be telling a story. Let's go all the way back, because I want to make this focus a little bit from the real estate agent's perspective. Why did you decide to get into real estate in the first place? You could have done a million things. You were doing acting before, right?
I was. I was in New York City, graduated college, 2006, went to New York City on some money I had saved up. I didn't know what else, I didn't want to go to law school or become a doctor or do anything like that. And for most part, because I couldn't, because I just wasn't smart enough. And I had some money saved. So I had some money saved. It's like, you know what? I want to get this. I want to do this, otherwise I'll regret it for the rest of my life. So I'm 21, 22. I want to go and try to be an actor in New York City. And I think a lot of people do that in New York. A lot of people do that in LA for sure. And I tried as hard as I could. I did some soap opera work, a lot of free work, like free theater, free student film, all of that. I hand modeled.
Love free,
Free's important, right? That's how you get out there. I hand modeled. I held phones for AT&T, and I modeled watches. That paid more than anything, to be honest. That paid the bills. And then I ran out of money in the summer of 2008. And a friend of mine said, "Get your real estate license. Don't become a bartender or a waiter, because eventually, before you know it, 10 years later, you'll still be a bartender or a waiter. Get your real estate license. Rent an apartment per month, and if you rent an apartment, that's $2,500, right? The 1 month commission that you'll take in New York City, you split 50-50 with the house, that's $1,250 in your pocket for showing somebody apartments to rent." And I'm like, you get paid for that?
I remember in the beginning too, $1,250 is a ton of money.
Yeah.
Like that to me, I was 18, making like $500 for a little lease commission.
Yeah.
That to me was the world.
I still remember,
Yeah.
I think one of my first deals was like a $900 a month convertible 2 apartment in Koreatown. And the commission was like $480 or something like that. And I remember waiting by my boss's
Make it right,
door
yeah.
on 49th and Madison, waiting for him to write the checks. And he looked at me when I went for the check, like, he was like, "This is what you've been waiting all day for?" And I'm like, I don't have money, man. Like, that's
Yeah.
$480. Like, that's awesome. And I just put it in the bank. I'm like, I'm never spending this ever.
Yeah. No, I felt the same way. It's almost like you created that out of nothing. Like that's what I really felt. Like when you get paid per hour, it's like, okay, I put in the 30 hours and I
Sure.
get paid this. But when you get paid on a commission, it's really like, I really felt like I earned it. Like this just was money I created out of thin air. It's
Yeah.
really how I looked at it.
Yeah, just from your own willpower and your ability to talk and
Yeah.
write emails and like show up and do the work. That's what's pretty incredible about it.
Yeah. Now, did any people discourage you though when you first started? Because I had a lot of people telling me I was making the biggest mistake of my life going into real estate. No one was going to trust someone who's 18. No one
Yeah.
was going to trust someone who doesn't have any experience.
Yeah.
But you need the experience to begin selling, so it's kind of like a catch-22.
I definitely had people who thought that I was doing it just as like a side gig.
Yeah.
Who were like, okay, while you figure out what you really want to do. A lot of people become real estate agents while they figure out what their true meaning in life is.
Sure.
And then for me, I just kept doing it because I saw the potential in it. But I didn't really have a job at the time,
Okay.
right? Like I went from hand model to real estate agent, and I think a lot of people looked at that as like moving up the ladder versus like going down the ladder.
Step up. Okay.
Yeah. So then my first day was September 15th, 2008, which is the day that Lehman Brothers filed
Yeah.
for bankruptcy.
Yeah, I started a few months before you. I started in April 2008.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I got you
got in it when things were like insane, and then
Yeah.
a few months later, it was like end of the world.
Yeah, no, I started right as it was starting to go down. So like the peak was over, and every day after then was just slower and
Yeah.
slower and slower, and
Yeah.
then like 2009 came.
And it was just
but when
brutal.
you're just starting out, anything is good.
Yeah.
So when I was doing those $500 lease commissions, like that to me was amazing.
Yeah.
But what do you think really set you apart in the very beginning?
In the very beginning, it was really, really hard, right? Like I didn't make real money for 3 years. It took me a long, long time. But I think that in the beginning, like I was completely shameless. And I think a lot of real estate agents who had been doing it for a while had a hard time going back to the types of deals that they'd worked so hard not to do. Like to be a $1 million broker selling.
That's a very
to then
good
all of a sudden have to like go back to doing $2,000 a month rentals and posting ads on Craigslist was really, really hard for people. So for people like me and you at the time,
Yeah.
hindsight's 2020, and I was super hungry for all of these little deals, and
Yeah.
I would take all of the difficult clients and all the clients that other people in the office didn't want to take because they were too busy on other things. I just needed to survive.
Yeah.
And I used the fact that I was young to my advantage, right? Like it was like, okay, well, I can't be old, and I don't have experience, so
Yeah, you were
I'm not going to
23,
lie.
right? When
Yeah,
you
I was
started
23.
Okay.
22, I guess, because then 2 years later, $1 Million Listing happened. No, you're right, 23, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And then when I turned 24 is really like when I started.
Cool.
Right. And so I think that, right, in the beginning, I would tell people like, yeah, I'm young, but that means I have no responsibility other than
I said
to
the same
you.
thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I will work my ass off for you. I will sleep in your attic if you need me to.
Yeah.
In order to get this sold, I'll be here at 4 a.m, whatever it is. And that's what I did for 10 years.
Yeah, no, I said the same thing. That was my sales pitch, and I would do leases too because no one else was doing leases.
Sure.
But I also said like, you will be my only client if it's like a big sale. You're my only listing.
Yeah.
Like I will do anything, day or night. I don't have any kids. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't
you know
have
of.
anything that I know of. Hopefully not. What's up? What's up, son? What's up, daughter? Watching somewhere. But no, I had no responsibility whatsoever, and that was my pitch, and people loved it.
Yeah.
And especially, I think the fact that you're young was really just a benefit to them, that you were more motivated than anyone else. Even
Yeah.
though you might not have had the experience, you can really push beyond what anyone else is willing to do.
Yeah, and it's the type of deals, right? So,
Right.
like a lot of people want to know how I got into larger deals. That didn't happen for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Those first 3 years for sure, and definitely the first 5, I did the deals that I could do. which were small ones.
Yeah.
Small rentals, large rentals, when I got to the chance, right? Smaller sales with clients that would trust me, who didn't need a broker who'd been doing it for 20 to 50 years, right? I wanted all of that other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, let the larger brokers who are too busy take all the cream and all the cherries and everything on top. That's fine. I'll get to that eventually. I'm young, so I'll take everything below. Don't worry about it, because these people are going to work their heart out, and they're going to get bigger and bigger, and they're going to want to do bigger deals later.
That's true.
And that's why getting in from the bottom and like in the dirt is important.
That's so true. So what sort of characteristics do you think were really important to develop early on in your career?
Empathy is a big one for me. That's what I look for in my team.
Okay.
I really look for, both in myself, but also in agents, right? Empathy, energy, and enthusiasm.
Okay.
I need them to be able to empathize with clients in the good and the bad. I need them to be able to wake up with excitement, like to be, to have that energy every day, to be able to also have endurance, right? And I need them to be enthusiastic about life, because this business is so hard. The sales business is so hard. You're going to lose so many deals, and you have to be okay with that.
That's one of the things that I've seen that really sets people apart, are the people that are really in it because they like the business and they like interacting with people and they like the sales aspect, versus the people that get in like, if I sell a $4 million house, I can make $100,000. And that's all they think about, is just selling that $4 million house, versus actually selling the house and going through the process and really just enjoying it. And that, for me, is what I've seen the biggest difference being made between the people who are in it for the right reasons or the people who are just in it for the money strictly.
Sure.
But how did you begin then scaling your business and delegating to others? And what was that process like? Because that's something I've never done.
Sure.
Is I'm so afraid to ever expand or delegate because people want me for me, and I'm just like, you guys watch my channel just for me. So as soon as I start delegating more, like, is it going to lose that personal touch with just me in it?
I mean, I think that's a two-part question. One question is, how did I expand? How did I leverage? And the other question is, how do I delegate? So I think for the first part, I was in my office. It was early on in my career, and I was doing these little rental deals, right? Nothing more than $5,000 a month. $5,000 a month was awesome. That was huge. And I saw that there were these other brokers that were doing $4 million sale here, $6 million sale here. If they had rental clients, they were all over $10,000 a month.
Right.
And it really pissed me off. Like, it's human nature. Like, you resent people who are successful, especially when you're in the same office as they are.
Right.
Like, why is that guy better? Like, that guy sucks. That guy, like, he can't even tie his shoes.
I thought the same thing, but
right? Like, I think it's just, I think like hungry, competitive people do get jealous and angry that way. And so I was the same way. And then someone else in my office was like, listen, those guys made a decision a long time ago that they were $5 million brokers when they got their first $5 million deal. And that's all they talked about. Because if, Ryan, you do $2,000 a month rentals, but that's all you talk about, and that those are the only referrals you get, $2,000 a month clients have $2,000 a month referrals with $2,000 a month problems. And success begets success. So you can't just go from $2,000 a month to $5 million clients, right? If you can, that's awesome. But you have to gradually scale. So I said, okay, I'm only going to do the biggest deals that I've ever done and just keep that going. So $2,000 a month clients have $2,500 a month friends, right? So every time you do a deal, I would try to milk all their friends, get their whole network. I'm now like in that person's pond.
Right.
So the minute I did $2,500 a month deals, now I only tell people that's what I do. Obviously, I'll do anything bigger, and anything under than that, all of a sudden I've got Yolanda. Yolanda's beneath me. She's never done a deal before in her life. That's okay when you're dealing with clients that are this small. But anything above that, I would take. Anything below that, I would help bring in and work on, so I'm not disappearing.
Right.
But then she would do the footwork, and that footwork enabled me to have enough time to work on what I wanted to work on.
Yeah.
The minute that $2,500 a month client goes through, and I meet one of his friends who can afford $3,250 a month, boom. That is now all I talk about. I do deals $3,250 a month and above. And it is painstaking, and it sounds like it takes a long time, because it does. And slowly but surely, I worked up that ladder just by working within each other's price points. And then you do a deal for $10,000 a month, and that guy then has something he wants to sell. That gets you into the sale category, and then slowly but surely you work your way up. But success begets success. Like, people only will work with you for what you're known
That's
for.
so true.
Right? Like,
I've had so many clients, by the way, that's like, oh, I didn't even know you did sales.
Exactly.
Because I helped them with like 2 leases, they're friends with leases.
Always.
And they're like, you do, I'm like, what did you think I'm doing this all for? Just so I could lease you a place until you go buy something with another agent?
People won't know if you don't tell them.
That's so true.
You have to scream your success from a mountaintop. And it's not bragging, right? You're not self-promoting in like this weird kind of sharky way.
Yeah.
You're just letting people know, hey, this is what I do. I'm pretty good at it because I did this, this, and this. If you would like to work with me, now you know that this is what I do. Like, you know LeBron is great at basketball, but you might not know that he's an avid toy car collector. And he would say, dude, you didn't know?
Yeah.
I collected toy cars? And you'd be like, no, man, I know you for basketball. And he'd be like, oh, man, you should have come to me. Now, I don't think that's true at all.
Okay.
But people only know what you put out there.
Right. So what do you recommend then for people who just want to start in the high price point to begin with? Because a lot of people, and for me
Good
too,
luck.
I wanted to do that. I just want to start. I started Beverly Hills, the most expensive area I could find here, working in the best zip code. And that's what I wanted to skip all of that. Now I started with leases still, but I started with leases in the highest price area I could get to within 45-minute drive.
I mean, listen, if you can do that and jump right into that price point, then that's great. I think the best way to do it, though, is you have to work for someone else. And if you're brand new to the business, if you're brand new to any business, or if you're just out of school, the first 3 years you have to treat like your own grad school.
Right.
Don't plan on making a lot of money. Don't plan on doing anything other than just learning as much as possible. Just like a lawyer would, right? Someone who goes to law school for 3 years, they make no money, they just spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of them go into student debt, then they get out and then they can start working and making money. Salespeople have to do the same thing. You have to treat it the same way.
Got it. What do you think your biggest mistakes were?
Oh, man.
Like too many. Where do I start?
I think at the beginning I didn't take it seriously.
Okay.
Right. So I probably could have learned a lot more and probably could have done a lot more had I maybe worked with somebody else the way I tell people to do now. Like join someone's team, become someone's assistant. Don't do what I did and just sit by yourself at a computer and just get pissed off when you don't do deals.
Yeah.
Like I just posted ads on the internet and was like, no one's calling. Like that's what I was told to do, but that's not a good way to grow your career. And I think I should have taken it a little bit more serious.
Okay. Now, when you're at your level right now, I mean, you're the number one in New York. Where do you see yourself going over the next 10 years, and where can you go from here?
Good question.
Besides YouTube, obviously, like and subscribe.
I mean, listen, we have the 2 TV shows on Bravo, which are awesome. We just put out a book, right? The YouTube channel, which we really like doing. We're about to start a podcast with iHeart. Like we're doing as many different content placements as I possibly can, because you have to these days. But I would like to do real estate in more places than just New York.
Okay.
Right? There's a lot of real estate out there in the world, and there's over 7 billion people on this planet. New York City is like the size of this microphone.
Right.
It's so tiny, and it can be really, really good to you, and there's obviously enough to go around. But I would love to be able to like come back here, maybe not at this table because you guys will have sold this house, maybe. Come back here and sit with you in 10 years and you're asking me, so when did you realize that you were going to enter those markets?
Sure.
Like how did you figure out how to manage all of those different offices and all those different markets in a way that no one else has ever done before?
So world domination, basically, is the appropriate answer.
In a smart way.
Okay. Have you thought about then opening up your own brokerage and doing like the Serhant team?
Yeah. I think about it.
Yeah.
I think about it all the time.
Okay.
I think that my best use for myself right now is as a salesperson, selling buildings, selling developments, and doing resales for both buyers and sellers in Manhattan, the Hamptons, Brooklyn, Long Island City, Little Miami, a little bit here in Los Angeles. And I think that once you own your own brokerage, you're very much like a broker-dealer, right? So you're also dealing with management issues. You're also dealing with lots of meetings. You're dealing with a lot more than just purely focusing on your client and getting things sold. I mean, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth because that is most likely what I'll eventually end up doing.
Right.
But I don't know yet.
Okay. So if someone is starting right now in this market today, what sort of blueprint do you think you would be able to give them if they want to get to your level at this point?
As a real estate agent or general salesperson?
Real estate agent.
If they're just starting right now, I would first find the best agent that you can in your market, okay, and petition yourself to work for them. You will work for free, right? And I think that's really important.
Something I say too in my videos, work for free.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
Right? If you can't work for free, if you can't afford to work for free, then you should have another job that is paying you something on the side, or work as someone's assistant. Like my assistants, always, I have them on an apprentice rotation where they can't afford to work for free, but I need a good assistant, and they have the skills to be a great assistant. So I pay them, I pay them a salary, and they learn, and they get to see how I answer emails. They get to see what my days are like. They get to meet all the brokers. They get to do everything kind of in my shadow. That way, when they're out of that apprentice program, they don't have to be my assistant anymore, and they hit the ground running immediately, and everyone knows them as, oh, you worked right underneath Ryan, right? So if you can find that type of position, that's huge. And a lot of times you do it by starting at the lowest level, which is the intern level. So you start interning, and you just have to show to the people you're interning for that you are worth your weight in gold. Never be late. Always stay for as long as you can. Show them that your time is their time, right? Help them with things that they didn't even know they needed help with. And by doing that and taking initiative, they're never going to want to let you go. Slowly, you can turn that into either a paying role, or you're going to say, hey, listen, I got my real estate license. I want to be on your team.
Yeah.
I know you need a junior broker of some sort who's doing this showing and that showing and this showing. So you'll get that person's role too. And then you slowly build up from there.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
And why do you think so many agents fail the business? Because I see so many after 6 months to a year, they're out, they're done.
I think because most people are raised to think that they're great at everything, and they're really not. I think most people are bad at a lot of things, and most parents and most teachers are just not honest, because it's easier to lie and just yes people to death. And I think that people can't handle rejection.
Yeah.
Right? You get into this business. Where's your salary? Where's my benefits? Where's my money? That person said they were going to do a deal and then they didn't. Screw this. I want a regular job. Right? And then you get disgruntled that way. Like, the greatest thing my parents ever did for me was be brutally honest to my face. I hated it for 30 years. But for the last 4 years, I've really come to respect it. Like, my parents made me play every single sport known to man. Even if I hated it. They're like, you have to play one season to see if you like it. And you'll never know if you don't try. And then I would suck. And then my dad, I remember him pulling me off a baseball field and saying, this is not your sport. You are very bad. As hard as you try.
Ouch. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it sucked at the time, and it was embarrassing, and I hated it. Looking back now, I'm glad I tried it, and I'm glad he was that honest with me, because I didn't waste time. And I think a lot of people too waste time because, everyone told them that they're great at this, they're great at that, life is, you're going to figure it out. And then the real world doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And so that's why most people fail. I mean, that's it, right?
Yep.
It's the most valuable player, the most improved player disease that we have now, especially in the United States.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Now, are you investing in real estate at this point?
Yeah, I invest in stuff for myself, right? I have to be careful, though, because my whole life is real estate. So, I invest in other things that I like to do. But when I see good deals, I try to jump on it as much as I can.
Okay. Are you buy and hold, or do you try to flip deals, or
No,
what?
I buy and hold.
Okay,
I buy and
same
hold.
thing,
It's
yeah.
really hard
Yeah.
in New York City to flip. I mean, you can flip contracts in a hot market, but it's so hard to time the market. And listen, I have so many clients over the years who say to me, if I'd only just held on to that property I bought in 1980 or 1990 or 2000 even,
Yeah.
right? Cash flow is where people get killed. So if the cash flow kills you, then you have to buy and sell. But if you can hold, and if you can lever it right, and you can get good tenants, and you can take care of the property, in the United States, it will always be worth more years down the line, especially in places like New York, Chicago, Houston, Dallas, Miami, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, all these urban places.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things too. From all my clients, I don't think I've ever had a client that said, I am so glad I sold that property in 1992. That was the best decision ever. Always, all of my clients' regrets are I had this property, it was in this prime street, and I sold it, and I used the money somewhere else, and now I don't have it anymore. I wish I still had it. It would be worth this X amount now. Yeah. And that's always been their biggest regret. So for me, anytime I buy something, I buy it with the expectation that I want to be 70 or 80 years old and have this place and just pimp it out and have it be amazing and just keep it forever.
You look at that Forbes list of the the wealthiest Americans, and a lot of them are just massive property owners.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, you have the Waltons and the Zuckerbergs and that, but the long list are people who, in Manhattan, these families that were nobody, but they just bought all this property in terrible locations in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and it completely changed their lives.
Yeah.
Right? Like John Jacob Astor said, if I knew then what I know now, I would buy up every single inch of Manhattan. And I think that's important to remember.
Yeah. I think that's a good point to end this video on. So you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. So make sure to check out Ryan's channel.
Yes.
I'll link to all your information down below. If you haven't already subscribed you have to subscribe first to my channel and then go and subscribe to Ryan's channel. And also feel free to add me on Snapchat and Instagram. I post there pretty much daily. So if you want to add me on there, same applies to you, got to add me on Instagram now.
No problem.
Make sure to add me there. And then finally, I have a private Facebook group if you're interested in real estate, want to talk about real estate, agenting, investing, anything real estate. Link is in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time.